Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, and as always, I'm here with your host, Nicholas T. Smith, the one and only. Hey, we're so excited today because every time we have tech issues, we usually have a monster powerhouse Giant show and an amazing story to tell.
True.
And
Yeah.
I think the world doesn't want it to get out. Yeah, that's what that's what we blame it on.
Why.
Yeah.
Nick, will you introduce our guest?
Absolutely, yes. And this will be an inspiration for those that are watching because you can work through anything. This is Angie Barnett. She's a 43-year-old wife, mother, and she's a full-time student. She's a 3-time left leg amputee. She's endured over 40 surgeries and procedures, has done so with positivity and grace. You see, I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so excited. I'm like, let's get into the story. But her goal in life is to use her experiences to teach others how to find peace amidst the chaos. So she's full of gratitude and views every experience as a learning experience. And we're so glad to have you on the show. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me be here. I'm excited.
Well, so when we go down your journey here, I hope people hang on all the way through, and they're going to comment, and we'll show those up on the screen. And
all
so
right.
if it draws some conversation, let's do it. If we get off track, let's do it because that's where some of the best conversation comes in.
Yeah, I love that.
So let's start kind of going back in time a little bit and look at your history. What was it like growing up for you? What was your family history, your story?
You know, for me, I grew up in Cache Valley, which is northern Utah, for those who are watching that don't know where that's at. And I had the most fabulous childhood. I really did. It was kind of an idyllic childhood. My parents were, my mom was always baking, and my dad was doing things like he would build like an ice skating rink. He'd flood the backyard with the hose and build an ice skating rink in the backyard, or we were playing basketball, or so I had a really good upbringing that I was always very, very grateful for. Lots of, family and friends around. So I feel very fortunate because I know not everybody can say that.
Do you feel like that kind of laid the foundation for your life?
Definitely. I think, a lot of the experiences that, they gave me, my parents, they gave me like a sure footing, kind of helped me to grow into myself at a young age. I feel like I was, given a lot of opportunity to kind of, I don't know, just to be myself, as a kid. And I think that that's, really important. So, it laid the foundation for me to be able to kind of deal with some of the things that I had no clue, what journey I was going to embark on. Up until the time I was 18, I had only had 2 surgeries. So, I had no even remote inclination that I would be going down kind of this road of, of a health journey. So that's, I find it interesting. I love the starts for most people because some people had really traumatic starts. Right.
Some people had really foundational starts where their parents were really supportive. And then it almost was like preparing them for later on in life for something major.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that's totally the case. For me, I look at it as that. I give a lot of credit to my parents and to my family, my siblings. I'm the oldest of 7, so it was a big family, and it was great. I love it. Love them all with all my heart.
So did you have some aspirations and dreams that you wanted to accomplish when you were younger that you thought, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, actually, I when I was in 6th grade, I wanted to be an archaeologist. So, we did the chapter on Egypt, and I was like, yes, I'm going to be an archaeologist. No, that didn't pan out, obviously. But I've always been fascinated in the medical field. I started after high school. I started a degree at Utah State University, where I met my ex-husband, and then but I actually quit the degree. Like, I stopped going to school in order to put him through school. So hindsight's 2020. I wish I would have finished it, but I was pre-med biology. I would have liked to have gone on and become a doctor or a physician's assistant or something of that. So my medical journey is actually, I geek out over it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
sort of a passion for me. So I'm like, whoa, that's actually happening. Whoa, that's happening to me. It's, I don't know. We all have our thing, I guess.
Yeah, no, I have things I nerd out about for sure. Ryan, I know you're nerdy things too, man. As we're going through this, I'm going to have it, Ryan, if you're okay with this, if you'll just watch the comments and do those, I'll do the nuggets. Does that work?
The nuggets.
Yep. So
You
we like
got
to
the nuggets.
as you write down, as you say gems, we want to capture them. So we'll throw them
Oh,
up.
do it. Please do. Yes, definitely. So I don't know that there will be a lot of gems, but let's go for it.
I think there will be. So as you're going along life seems fairly stable. And then what happened? So what happened with your leg? What happened with that whole experience? Can you go into that?
Yeah, absolutely. See, I had a lot of different health issues prior to my major leg experience. And so it just, I had dealt with different surgeries and, I'd had I think it was 12 abdominal surgeries, big ones, and other leg surgeries, foot surgeries, things like that. Just my body had some issues. And I had a knee surgery done because I had blown my my MCL out doing a jumping jack of all things at aerobics. So that was weird, but that was always nice. Yeah. Anyways, it was funny. It happened.
I do that getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Right?
I just don't do that stuff.
You're just I avoid it. It's the plague.
I do one sit up.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
You know what? That's it. Hey, at least you do one, right? Let's be the optimist here. Be the optimist.
Yes.
Anyways, but yeah, so I had blown that MCL out, and it took me a year to rehab it. Really good. I was really strong, and getting physically fit, gone to the gym, that kind of thing, we ended up experiencing a tragedy at the end of December of 2011, actually. And so I lost someone who's really close. We were really close to, and they were a really, really good skier. So I was like, you know what? I'm going skiing, right? Yeah. So January 7th of 2012, I went with, I met my family up at the ski, wherever you ski, the ski mountain, whatever. Beaver Mountain Ski Resort. I couldn't find the resort in my head. My resort was gone. Anyways, but so I couldn't find it. Anyways, I went up there and I was like, this is gonna be great. It was the first time I'd gone back skiing in about 12 to 13 years. I really hadn't done it for a long time, but so I go up and it was the first run of the day and first time back, and going down the hill, I get going too fast. I panic, hit a mogul straight legged and snap my leg. It was, and then I fall it's an impact fracture, right? Because I hit it straight legged, and it tore all the ligaments in there, and I ended up just I was, sitting there, and I was just like, oh well, okay, this is really not okay. And I wasn't crying, I wasn't upset or anything. I was really just upset is relative term, I guess. I was annoyed. I was like, this is not something that I need to be doing right now. This is, we're dealing with a different type of tragedy. I don't need to have this, nuisance of something happen. So anyways, yeah, so they got me off the mountain, and sure enough, fast forward a bit, went to the doctor, and he said, okay, you've broken your bones you broke the bone right below your knee. It was tibial plateau fracture, and tore the ligaments in my knee. So it took about 6 months for my tibia to heal. And then we could start working on, getting the surgery for the ligaments. As I continued, kind of rehabbing that leg, the bone healed up. I went back, I got an ACL, and I started doing, PT, physical therapy, and I did it for a little while. It was probably a couple weeks, and tore my cartilage, meniscus in like the night of PT that I had done physical therapy, and I was just like, what happened? Like, why would that happen? You know? So I went back to the doctor, and he said, well, it's because you need an MCL. So I was really flustered. I was like, okay, so why didn't you just give me that at the same time as you did the ACL? It didn't make sense to me. And he just said, well, we'll do it now. So they gave me an MCL ligament, and I continued to, you know, do physical therapy. I worked it, and about 3 months after that, I still was making zero progress. I mean, zero progress with it. Like my leg was still, it looked like it was on like almost a right degree angle, like we're at my knee. Like I could hardly walk on it. And I went back to the doctor. I had gone a couple of times, but they missed it. But the MCL didn't take. And so I was like, it didn't what? And he says, well, it looks like your MCL didn't take, and you've rehabbed away the rest of the cartilage in the meniscus. So I was like, okay, so what does that mean? And he says, well, you're bone on bone, and so you're going to have a total knee replacement. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm 35 and have to have a knee replacement? What the heck, you know? But I was like, all right, I guess if it is what it is. It was kind of always my motto. In fact, I always get teased because I always say it is what it is and move on, you know, kind of a thing. Anyway, so I went back in, had the knee replaced, and I thought, you know, okay, yeah, this is it. I've got it. You know, I'm gonna get my life back together. I'm gonna get in shape. This is great. I can be a good mom to my fam, you know, or my kids. And I went in, and after the knee replacement, we couldn't bend or straighten my leg. Like it was, I don't know, you know, it was really difficult. And so I went back to the doctor, and he said, well, you need to have a manipulation, which is where they force your leg to bend and force it to straighten, but they like put you to sleep. It's sort of a procedure, like they knock you out, and then they do that to break up the scar tissue. So I had the first one, and there was no improvement. So I had a second one, and when I came out of anesthesia from the second manipulation, my doctor said, I'm sorry, but you know, we fractured your femur. And I was like, you what?
Holy
and
cow.
He's like, well, we broke your femur in 2 places. So that tells you how much force they were putting on the leg. So he accidentally broke my femur. And I was kind of like, what the heck? You know, I mean, I was just in shock. You know, I wasn't like angry or anything. I was just in shock. Like, I was like,
I
how
just
is this?
keep picturing, you know, these people in these full body casts in the comedy shows, and they keep hitting stuff and breaking more and more. And it's like,
exactly.
that
That was me.
Yeah. Holy.
It was like,
Snowball king
I
of events.
seriously, exactly. Well, we just started saying I was like the Lemony Snicket or whatever, you know, like a series of unfortunate events. But
breakage.
yeah, it was, breakage events. That was my story, you know? So yeah, so it broke in 2 places, and that was not good. That was really not good. So I kind of started back at square one. And but I did change doctors. You know, I was like, now this is ridiculous. You know, something's really, this is not okay.
Yeah,
so
when your
I
doctor
changed.
breaks your leg 2 times on accident, you probably should maybe look at getting another doctor.
Exactly. I feel like that was like my big indicator that I needed to, you know, move on. The broken femur. I was, you know, up until then I was like kind of meh, but yeah, my big indicator was, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I went to a different doctor, and he was kind of appalled at like what had gone on, and just told me, he says, you know, none of this should have happened, and let's get your femur better, and let's send you to a trauma knee surgeon. And I got my femur better, and I went to a traumatic knee surgeon, and he was amazing. Like, I just love him to pieces. And he said, you know, I hate to tell you this, but I think you've got infection in there, and your other doctor, you know, I think he missed it, and I think that's where the bulk of your issues are. So I was like, well, I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point, you know? Nothing really was surprising me at that moment. And went in and they did the blood work, and sure enough, it came back that I was full of infection. And so they went in and they took my knee out, which sounds so weird to say. They took my knee out. Anyways, they took my knee out, and
It's like
they did
like you went into a routine cleaning at the dentist. You know,
exactly. Oh yeah, they just took it out. It just sounds so weird. The weirdest.
Well, the way you say it, it's like, yeah, and then they just took my knee out.
And then I just took it out. Well, the weirdest is like when I have a prosthetic on, or I'm like, guys, can you bring my leg to me? Like the first few times I said that, I was like, guys, can you put my leg in the trunk? I need to take it to the mechanic. You know,
when
I
would
mean,
you
like,
ever say that in life? You know,
you
would
just
never
you
think you
don't.
would.
And
Hey,
we had so
can you
many
put my leg in the
laughs.
trunk?
Yeah, could you please put my leg in the trunk? The visual is just really awful if you think about it until you
Kids
realize
don't
it's
hit your brother with my
prosthesis.
leg.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, seriously. Or no, the best is when I'm like, guys, let's just hand me the theater candy. I'm gonna stick it down in there in the leg, and we are gonna get it in, and nobody will know. No, I'm like,
Whole new meaning to bootlegging.
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm like sneaking in Twizzlers and inside the leg, and the kids are like, Mom, knock on my leg, you know, because it's hard. They're like, Mom, can I have some liquors? And I'm like, yeah, just a second, you know. And I'm whipping out that,
I can see the theater guards like, ma'am, we're gonna have to search your leg.
Yeah.
I'd be like, go for it, you know. And I mean, because it's like, and they would, yeah, there's nothing, you won't find nothing. It's true though. Yeah, no, I don't know, hidden perks, I guess, having losing leg, right? You always look at the positive, right? Like that's one of my perks is I get to sneak in stuff in my leg. So anyways, we good.
So the doctor takes your knee out. Right?
Yes, and I go through the first of.
That gives me like chills, like ooh.
Oh, it gets worse. Anyways,
Oh, cool.
and so prepare yourself. Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to like make you cringy or anything.
No, you're all right.
But I'm kind of matter of fact, just because it's like, meh, whatever. It happened, you know. So they took my knee out, and I was full of infection in there. And they did the first of 4 bone cleanouts. And by bone cleanout, I mean what they do is they take like a rotor bit, like what you would have on a drill, and it has a blade on the one side, and they take it and they went down my tibia shaft and extricated all of my bone marrow, and then they went up my femur and extricated my bone marrow there, and it took a couple layers of the inner bone off, and then they packed it full of antibiotic cement, and stuck me on a PICC line, which is basically an IV, but it's a permanent one, like it's a tube for those who don't know what a PICC line is. And I started fighting like crazy to save this leg. So I did about 5 to 7 IVs a day, and it was crazy. Like, I mean, it was just very time consuming, and the medicine made me really, really sick. But I wasn't about to just give up on the leg. You know, it's kind of something that you enjoy. I mean, I'd had a leg for 38 years, and I was like all about saving it. So,
yeah,
you know,
you get attached a little bit at that.
Yeah,
point.
you get attached, and I mean, quite literally, you're attached to it. But yeah, it was one of those things. So it was nuts.
I want to read that quote, and I want to share something here. But Scott, will you bring that back up, Ryan?
Yeah.
Scott?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I might be a little bit biased. I don't. Maybe you are, but she seems pretty cool. I think she's pretty awesome. But she's the most amazing woman I've ever known. Her perseverance, her positive outlook, her constant reminder to myself to be the best person I can be. I'm beyond grateful to have her in my life. Man, that is not a relation.
Yes, he's my man.
Oh, there you go. What a good
man.
Yes, yeah.
He is. I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. Scott and I met, it was, I don't know, like 6 months or after my divorce, and we started dating, and he's my whole world. He's just been the best. I mean, he's amazing.
Scott, we love you too. I might be a little biased.
Yay! We all love you.
So as you're sharing this story, you know, you're talking about all of these procedures, and I'm just tense. I'm like cringe. I'm almost shaking over here, like holy crap. And you're saying I wanted to fight for this leg. I've had this leg for 38 years. I'm kind of attached to it, like physically attached to it.
Yeah, and mentally. I mean, like you kind of like that leg.
Keep going.
Anyways, okay.
Hard, right? For this leg, you fight hard for this thing. You want to keep it. You don't want to lose it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you want to, I mean, like, I just felt like, okay, I'm going to give it my all, I'm going to dig deep and see what grit I have,
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to try to be positive, and I'm just going to try to, flow with the series of events, because I think when you go through major trauma and major trials, you know, it's easy to just kind of get hung up on one particular, facet of of that trial, or just, it can stop you, like, and so moving forward, it was like, all right, we got to keep this going, and we're going to be positive. Oh, look,
Yeah.
he loves you guys too.
Yeah.
Aw.
Rod's throwing
Yeah.
up.
Oh, look, big hearts. Yes. Aw, it's a
Yeah.
bromance. You got bromance going. That's
Romance.
awesome.
We got you, Scott.
That's right. Anyways. But yeah, so I started doing my IVs 5 to 7 a day, every day, and it made me deathly ill. The medication, it turned my skin gray. I lost a ton of weight. I was so unhealthy, but we were fighting hard, and so I had 4 bone cleanouts, and at one point, they would, my nurses would come and check on me every week, right? Because they would have to, make sure the PICC line was good and working good, and make sure I had all my IVs for the week and all of that. And my blood work, they'd send blood work in, every week, and just to make sure my kidneys were okay, because these meds are so powerful that they easily can kill, your organs, like, can kill, like, your kidneys. And unfortunately, that is what happened to me. Is they started, my doctor contacted me and said, okay, Angie, you've been on these meds for a year and a half. You've been fighting like crazy. We've done four bone cleanout surgeries. There is a problem. These meds, the vancomycin and the rocephin, they're killing your kidneys. And so I need you, to come in. So obviously I went in, talked to my doctor, and he says, you're going to have to
Obviously,
make a choice.
when your kidneys are getting killed, you go in.
You do. It was like, I was like, no, those have to stay alive. I was like, no, come on,
you gotta
come
have
on, little
at
guys,
least
fight,
one.
fight. Right. Well, exactly. So, yeah, I was like, I went in, and
you see the cartoons
yeah,
where they put their finger in the dam. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt your thought. And then
no, please.
Another leak comes out, and they put their finger in that, and then they got their toe in something, and then they got another finger in, and it's like there's all these leaks coming out. That's your life.
Yeah, that is exactly what it was. That is exactly what it was. And at one point, they open their mouth, and it's pouring in their mouth, and they can't drink it fast enough, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all good. But yeah, so
wow,
that was crazy. It was a heavy question too. Is what do you want to do? I mean, like, I don't think anybody can prepare themselves for what do you want to do. What do you want to save, your leg or your kidneys? But I also think that there's a certain amount of logic where you're like, okay, I get that I can live without a leg. I can't live without kidneys, So so obviously that's what I said is, okay, I guess that it's time. And so on June 23rd of 2016, let's rewind. On June 22nd of 2016, I was preparing for this amputation, because it was taking place on the 23rd. And I know this sounds super weird, but I think we all find ways to deal with our trauma, and we all deal with it differently. And I painted my toenails up. I gave myself a pedicure. Made sure that I did shave my legs, even though they were just going to cut it off. That was weird, but I mean, it's true.
Sounds like the most normal thing that's happened so far.
Yeah, it's true. I know, it's true. So, it gets weird.
I think of it as like, if you were losing a loved one, you would want to honor them the best way possible.
Totally.
And
I love this.
Different from burying a friend. We honor them by doing an open casket and all these things, so we can view them, right? Exactly. So I see it that way. I
love that you see it that way too, because a lot of people, when I tell them that, they're like, "What? Why would you do that?" But it's kind of out of love, And this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I let my kids, they were kind of struggling with it. They were, younger at the time, and I let them write on my leg with Sharpie,
Mm.
And I let them say, so they wrote like little messages like, thanks for taking our mom on lots of walks. And
Oh man.
thanks for,
Holy cow.
helping my mom when she was a cheerleader. Or thanks for, walking her around the kitchen while she baked for us, or, things like that. And little hearts or smiley faces or whatever. So, I mean, I do have to say it was actually really funny, because when I showed up on the 23rd to get my leg taken off, the doctor looked at me like, what the heck went on here? Why do you have all these messages on your
It's
legs?
like a cast, like you've got everyone sign the cast.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Instead of signing the cast, they signed my legs. So yeah, so that was, and I just said, it's a coping method, and we did what we did, and it was okay. It was not something that you ever want to go through, but I was okay. I was like, all right, we're gonna get through this, So I went in on the 23rd, and I had my first amputation, and it was right above the knee, right? And they kept it nice and long, and I couldn't save the knee, right? There was just no way. But it would have been, they say that if you have a longer residual limb, it's a bit easier to use a prosthetic. Like the longer natural leg that you have, the easier it is to kind of maneuver and stuff. So I was like, all right, this is great. We'll just power through. Had a few complications. Ended up in a rehab unit because my leg, it was giving me, my residual limb was having some struggles. Did that for about 2 weeks and went home, and I was like, okay, the journey this is good. We're good. We're gonna heal this, and we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna figure this out. And so I went home. It didn't heal, which was weird. And so I kept doing everything that I was supposed to, and my leg still would not heal. And so I went back in to the doctor, and I said, it was about a month later, and I said, what's going on? Why is it not healing? And they said, well, it looks like we did not get all the infection. And now remember, I had like infection in the bones, in my femur, and they didn't get it all. So I went through a second amputation the first part of August of 2016, and they still didn't get it all. So
What's crazy to me? Sorry to interrupt again, but
no, please.
This whole time, through this whole story, like I didn't hear you stop and say you're mad. You're like woe is me. Like I hate my life. Like I mean, you can have any excuse you want in the whole world, and all you're doing is like being positive and like it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll keep moving forward. We can do this. Like it's absolutely incredible.
It's like a Monty Python episode. I've had worse.
Yeah, that's me.
It's just a flesh wound.
So great.
Yeah.
Well, there's reasons why. Like some of the things that I learned on my journey is like there's kind of, I always call it, I know it sounds kind of, I don't know, cheesy, but I call it the triple L factor. A lot of people like for me, the triple L factor is the three basic ways I coped and made it through each of those traumatic events. And by that I mean like the three L's were love, laugh, and let go. And there's something incredibly valuable to be able to feel love and love those around you while you're going through something really traumatic, and to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh with others, because we did, I mean, and I was always making jokes. My mom, she was hilarious. She said to me the first time, right after I had my amputation, she goes, it's a good thing I didn't name you Eileen. I feel like that would have been a problem. And I died. It was so funny. And then they just kept coming. You should work at IHOP. Oh my gosh, this is great. And just, I mean, like, honestly, it's hilarious. It's never ending. Like, my dad, last summer, I went to go swimming, and I told my dad, I was like, I'm going swimming. And he's just like, you can swim? And kind of this perplexed look. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I got one leg. I'll just swim in circles. But
what I hear in that, like, you have the choice to lose your mind or laugh.
Yeah,
like, you can lose it, laugh.
You do. You really do. And so like to bring me to the third part is like, letting go. I know you can't let go of the fact that I mean, you're going to live with the fact you've lost a limb every single day of your life. But you can let go of the hurt, the pain, the heartache, and the way that I did that is I felt like you know, I felt like to find peace, I needed to accept my challenge, like that each individual one of those, like I worked on accepting the burden that I was carrying, right? I owned it. And I think there's something so valuable when you own your challenges. Because once I accepted it, I had this deep sense of peace, So to me, I feel like peace brings acceptance or acceptance brings peace. Yes, that's the way I was doing it. I mixed that up, but yeah, acceptance brings peace, and that's
Can you
it's
go into
part of
that
the journey.
What does it look like? Because everybody says you need to accept it. You need to accept your life. But what is that? Can you define that for you so that people have a version?
Yeah, accepting my life means that I think it's very conscious, cognitive living style. Like, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to clean my kitchen. I'm going to eat this cookie and I'm going to own that I'm eating this cookie, for all the New Year's resolutions out there. I'm not going to feel guilty about that because I'm making my choices, right? I think there's something to be said for acting and being acted upon, right? Our circumstances are such in life that we can react positively or negatively. But if we just kind of, if we don't take charge of how we react, we're going to be miserable, right? Because I think the human condition, it's natural, to be upset, to be frustrated, to be hurt, to be down. I'm not saying that, being happy is unnatural. I'm just saying sometimes as human beings, we have to choose into that space. And we have to kind of pull ourselves up by our bootstraps emotionally and mentally in order to do that. And for me, that was huge. I didn't want to be the miserable person that was poor me, poor me. I've had 3 amputations and oh my gosh, 18 surgeries prior to that or whatever it was to, get me to that point. I didn't feel like it was fair to everyone else. So, by me being able to accept it and own it and not have any, I was like, no excuses. This is who I am. I found a sense of peace in that. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you're gonna have to slow down. We can't type fast enough to get all these nuggets. So
I'm running out.
No, just kidding.
Like we're in nugget overload. We're like
you're nugget overload.
I'm just like this.
Yeah,
I love it. I love
it's
it.
like
I'm
what is
so
it?
glad.
The Little Rascals. You're like, oh my god, I could listen to her forever.
I love the Little Rascals. It's so great.
So, it's you get to decide who you'll be in your adversity.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And who do you choose to be? And I get that people are gonna feel pain. Like me, I did. I felt pain. I still feel pain. And when that happens, that's where I use the third L. Love, laugh, let go. I'm like, but you don't just let go. I mean, some people are like, oh, just let it go. It's not that simple. You have to feel it first. So like that sadness from losing my leg, I felt that sadness. I owned that sadness. I embraced the fact that I'm a flawed human being, but I'm also an emotional human being, and that I'm capable of doing good things, or great things even, overcoming the challenges. Does that make sense?
Oh man, it does. Keep going.
Do you know what? You know what I find interesting too, though, like to this, because you had a very physical thing that happened, like mogul leg snap, right?
Yep.
Straight leg, mogul leg
struggle.
snap. Yeah. And then all these things that happened, because of the event.
Yeah.
But those giants, those people that are sitting at home watching this and they're going to watch the replay, they have similar events that happen that aren't but they're in their mind. They're the leg snap mogul, snowball effect.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That might not be are just as every bit as traumatic and trying and as
Yep.
hard. It could be a mental thing. It could be,
Yep.
like a mental health issue. It could be anxiety,
Right.
anxiety, depression, whatever, all those things. And everything that you talked about with, the way that you handled it is so amazing. It's giving those
Thank
giants at
you.
home extra tools to put in their tool belt of, hey, I
Yeah.
can do this. I can do this. I can do
I
this, or
hope
I can
so.
try that.
I
Or I
do.
can
I
learn.
hope
If she
so.
can do this, holy cow, with all the things that just
Yeah, I
happened,
mean, if I
I
can
can
do
do
it,
this too.
anybody can. So I've actually, it's interesting that you say that because I've had people, that will hear my story and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what you went through was so awful and it's so horrible. I don't know how you did it." And my response is generally, "How do you do yours? How do you do your pain?" Right? I think basically in life, I mean, we all learn fundamental um, characteristics and emotions, and I mean, we learn love, we learn grief, we learn pain, heartache, whatever. And by owning my pain, it's just my pain, right? Like my pain is no different than your pain. We might have different circumstances, but my pain is just my pain. And so I don't like comparing my circumstance with other people or having them compare theirs with me, because I think it doesn't do their efforts justice.
I
There's
think
something really valuable to that.
go ahead. I love to interrupt. That's one of my favorite things.
Do it, please. No,
I
I
get
love
so
it. I
excited
love
to
it.
say something. I'm like, Angie, can I say something? I'm like
Please.
raising my hands.
No,
Uh,
no, you're good. Please, please.
I think about that as I hear that, we get conditioned as a society to go up to people and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That must be so hard." And we try and hold them from
Right.
that space. I can't imagine, me going into a store and somebody's in a wheelchair. I'm like, "Hey, congratulations. You probably learned a
Right.
lot from that." Right.
Right.
Like on the opposite
Right.
side, it doesn't work to be like overly positive about their experience. So how
Right.
would you
Right.
suggest somebody approach that?
I think you just go with the flow. You
Yeah.
know, you don't run too fast, because then you're going to get ahead of yourself. And you
Mm.
don't stay stuck and sit on your butt and do nothing, because you're in a situation. So, I mean, you kind of flow with it. I sort of feel like a fish that's like kind of just flowing, swimming downstream, and you just are always going, right? And that was one of the things that I'd always, my kids were kind of young when this whole thing happened, but I remember we would sing, just keep swimming. And I was like, sweet, like you just keep swimming, you just keep flowing with life. We can't force things in life. If we force ourselves, we're gonna have, it can hurt us, and I'm not saying not to put pressure on ourselves. There's a difference, right? Like, because I have to put pressure on myself. I think that there's, a lot of value to being able to find a balance, though, between that pressure and between you know just sitting complicitly or idly by and doing nothing.
I have a view on this. Like as humans, our drive is I will blast through a mountain to create a
Yep.
road. I will
Right.
build a building where you can't build buildings. Look at Dubai,
Yep.
for example. Like there
Yep.
should be people in Dubai, but there are people in Dubai. And so as humans, we think we can force whatever we want, and in a way we do, and that's the power of being a human. But there's this
Right.
balance, right? There's this balance of balancing, going with the flow and creating, and it's creating in a way that honors the world around you. I think, you're
Right.
honoring where you're at, and you're also honoring others, and so it's creating a
Right.
balance of that. What comes up for you
Right.
there?
Right. One of the things that, it's interesting you say blasting through mountains, because I always say, like, I've talked with a lot of people, and at some point in my journey, I came across a saying, and it really hit home with me. It just said, "Those mountains you're carrying, you're only meant to climb." And I feel
Whoa.
like that's so powerful, because if we are constantly carrying all these mountains that we've climbed on our back, we're not going to get anywhere, or we're going to get there really slowly. So I always just say, with each individual challenge that you have, climb that mountain, get up there, take a look at that view, and then climb down and move to the next. But don't take the pain and the heartache or the struggle of climbing that mountain. Don't take it with you. Take the good and leave the mountain. But does that make sense?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Gee,
so those mountains, the mountains you're carrying, you're only meant to climb.
I think you just broke the algorithm. It's like, we're on nugget overload here. So it's like,
no.
I see smoke coming out of my computer. It's like, I can't.
My fingers hurt.
Yeah. I've
You're
got
having a struggle.
Yeah.
You cramping up.
Man, I type like this. So it's...
There you go. Hey, just do it so everyone can see it.
I can't believe we're already 40 minutes in. Like, I could seriously just keep going,
Yeah,
and for a bit here,
there's a lot more, but I feel, I mean, I'm one of those people who, I don't know, I just love what I do and love the people around me, and
we can tell too.
One day at a time.
Right,
you can? Yes.
Will you go back to that comment that you had, the big one? I'm going to pull you up here.
Here it comes. Oh,
Cover my face there.
Bye, Nick.
So, too often, see you guys. Too often people see others with serious challenges and say, at least I don't have to have it that bad. But I've learned the value of what Angie's talking about. The real value is in looking to see how they got through those challenges or get through those challenges. Regardless of the size of our challenges, the same lessons can get us through.
Exactly.
And thank you, John.
Exactly. I love that. And I love to see other people's perspectives on the challenges and how they embrace them, or do they even embrace them? Because that's the real question, is do you embrace your challenge and own it and then push through it, or do you try to push against it, which makes that much more, I mean, if it's something you can't control, and you're still resisting it, you're putting a lot of energy into something that you're not going to get very far. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Angie, everything you're saying makes sense.
Oh, good. I love it. I
can't wait for your book to come out, and we'll talk about it briefly in a bit here.
Yeah.
But what I keep hearing throughout is that you had a life where when you started, so looking at the Giants journey, right? The Giants journey, everybody has a different start point. We all start in a different place, a different way. It doesn't matter how you start. All that matters is what you do from there. And so you had a foundation from your family that was really supportive and really prepared you to have this positive, like, incredible attitude for anything that came up in life. You have an accident that for most people could have been life-changing, like in a negative direction. And you chose to use that as a positive. And every situation that came up, it was one after another, after another, after another. And trying to keep up with that, at any point you could have decided, I'm done, I'm out, I can't do this, this is too overwhelming. But you didn't. You kept going. And then you even now, like, I hear you're just like, of course, why wouldn't I? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there another way? Well, apparently not. It's like we have a choice at every moment. And I like talking about 0-point decisions and bifurcations in our lives, where we get this decision to move one way or the other. And at every moment, no matter what happens, we get to choose the direction we want to take it. It's like a choose your own adventure book, It
is, absolutely. And how you want to deal with those adventures, because sometimes those adventures are thrust on you.
Yeah.
But how are you gonna make your way through it? So it's amazing and empowering to know that we do have a choice.
Yeah, we do. At any point, there's this consciousness beyond our bodies. There's this consciousness beyond everything that's going on in our world that has the ability to observe what's going on. And that's the thing that gets to choose. It's beyond, it goes beyond spirit, it goes beyond science. It's just, it is. It just is.
Right.
And
I absolutely agree.
You've built this ability to look at adversity and create something amazing for it. And one thing that I want to highlight here is with your kids, you involved them in the celebration of your loss. You had them on your leg, and that teaches them a lesson. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's interesting because I feel like, when we have, when we have kids, the only thing you want for them in life is you want good, and you want them to succeed, and you want them to be comfortable and stuff. And so I mean, it was hard on my little guys. It was hard on my dudes when they had to deal with their mom that was struggling to move around because she's just lost a limb or whatever. But they were amazing, and I think there was something I was going to say, and I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Anyway.
Well, can I share what came up for me, and maybe this ties into it?
Yes, please.
I think they look to you for guidance on how to support you. And so when you show up in a way that says, this is a good thing, we're going to be okay, then they show up from the space of, this is a good thing, we're going to be okay.
Exactly.
And I think it holds, like, by you holding space for yourself that I can do this, you're showing them how to engage with you. You're showing them how to relate to you.
Right. Well, and I hope that they can see that you can do hard things. Like, we as humans can do really hard things, and we may not even, maybe we bring them on ourselves, or maybe we have someone else that brings them on us, or whatever. It's irrelevant in some aspects, because a hard thing is a hard thing, and you can do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because, like, in helping my kids adjust, we started to have celebrate the days that I lost it, almost like as an anniversary, rather than be sad and mournful. I think there's a value to having a stump day, is what they call it in a lot of my amputee world friends. They're like, oh, it's my stump day, and we all know that means it's their anniversary. And so but yeah, like, we'll have cupcakes or something, and just celebrate the fact that I had it for 38 years, which I'm grateful for, because reality is there's a lot of people who don't have that. There's a lot of people who are born paralyzed or with a disability, that they struggle, and they struggle hard. And even though I don't relate to those particular circumstances, there's definitely an appreciation factor that I have, bore out of that acknowledgement.
Yeah. Can I give a variation on the word appreciation? Because we use that word, and I go right into it. I didn't even wait for your answer. I'm just going to do it.
Please, no, I'm good.
So we use the word
it's all
appreciate.
about the flow.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. We say that. I appreciate you. Appreciation means to increase in value. And so when you take a situation and you appreciate it, you take what is and you add value to it. You increase the value of the situation. And by celebrating it, you're appreciating that situation. You're appreciating a person. You're taking the value they give and you're making it even more valuable. Does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that too. Yeah, because I'm at a loss for words, because that's exactly what it is. So, as opposed to depreciating,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like going through the challenges that I have, it helps me kind of not just embrace the unknown, and you learn to. I think everybody has the opportunity to learn to expect the unexpected in life. And if we can expect the unexpected, then when that happens, where I feel like we deal with it a little easier. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's not going to go according to plan.
No, and things rarely do. So like my hair today.
Yeah, I'm having a bad hair day too. That's the worst. I just wasn't expecting this, but here it is.
Right.
So we're gonna deal
what
with
happened?
it.
You had a full head of hair yesterday.
Yeah, last night when I went to bed, and boom.
And then gone. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's a hair. No, I kid, but it's true. So,
well, the thing is that's a truth for life that I've found, is that the path isn't a linear path. We get so used to being as humans that we can go in a straight line from one place to another, a point A to point Z, right? And the reality is that a path is, and Ryan, I'm going to nerd out, dude, fractals show us that paths can be chaotic. They can look chaotic, but they're efficient. And so pathways are more of you're moving along and then you have an option and you branch off. And then you go off of
Right.
that, you have another branch. And so I think that our lives run more like trees than they do anything. Like you
I
have all these
completely
branches
agree.
coming off, and it's not this fine-tuned thing, but you would never call a tree. I wouldn't call a tree ugly because it's all
No.
out.
Well, and think of it this way, taking your metaphor and making it a little deeper. I mean, you've got those branches and those fractals, but then what do you have below the ground? You have a network of roots. And, if they're shallow roots, you're going to, struggle, like within yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think having, our strengths, acknowledging that, maybe you need to work on your strengths or what, and work on your weaknesses. Acknowledge your strengths, work on your weaknesses. I mean, like, it's a big deal, plant those roots, plant them down deep. That way, when that happens, you
anchoring in or the
yes,
strong
anchors
foundation,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Well, okay,
yeah.
so I'm going to take that even deeper.
Ooh.
Woo!
And when he's done, then I'm going even deeper than
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how far we can go down this rabbit hole. But you think about the roots, is that the roots' job is to pull in nutrients and water, right? And so in our life, our roots are a foundation where we pull in all of this information. With the leaves, I think of leaves as like thoughts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Well, leaves are intended to bring in the sunlight and the light, right? So if your thoughts are bringing in the light and you're out there seeking nutrients in your roots, you create a foundation so that when something occurs and you have a branch that's difficult or breaks, you have a branch that breaks, you find another route, right?
Right. Well, and you can regrow. I mean, like when a branch, when you cut a tree off, like say at the trunk, how often do you come back and you see 10 sprouts coming from it? So I mean, it's a good metaphor. Good job. Woo!
There's an image that I visualize that goes around on the internet here. It's a tree that was cut down, and a new tree grew right out of the middle of it.
Right.
And it just kept going. And so we are the ones, what I'm hearing over and over in your messages, we ultimately decide our outcome.
Absolutely.
The event is neutral. We decide what it means.
Correct. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'd say. And I feel like sometimes those events, sometimes we pick those events. Sometimes we make mistakes and we bring events down on us. I mean, we all do that. Sometimes it's just thrust upon us, like losing your leg or something like that. I can only speak from my experience, but definitely, I mean, how we react to it is everything.
I'm just going to avoid skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I always think that. Are you going to go back skiing? And I'm like, I'm thinking no. I'm not ever going to work out.
I'm visioning. Have you seen Megamind? The big head guy, right?
Yeah, I love that.
I just picture like Scott being in a relationship with you. He's just like soaking in all this, like, and his head's just like,
gosh,
right?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think it's that way. I feel like I do that with him. Like he's my rock, and gosh, I don't know. I'm like embarrassed. I don't know how to say.
It's
sure, he's Megamind.
Hot in here.
Right, baby, you got a big head these days, and it's a compliment. You know what I mean? No, I don't know.
I guess, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Wrapping up here, we're coming up to the hour. If you were to go back in time and you were to share a piece of wisdom with yourself, and maybe for those that are viewing, just one piece of wisdom, what would you share?
One piece of wisdom that I would share.
Only one.
Honestly, yeah, exactly.
Like this whole show is stacked. So one more.
I think my message to myself would be to be kind to yourself, because, and gosh, like, see, I'm getting a little bit emotional. We're really hard on ourselves as human beings, and when something doesn't turn out right, whether it's our fault or someone else's fault or whatever, we get down, we put a lot of extra pressure on ourselves. And I'm guilty of that. I tend to be something of a perfectionist. And I think there's a lot of times where I put myself through a lot of pain and guilt that was unnecessary. It wasn't like good guilt. It was just, a lack of self-worth. So honestly, I'd go back and I'd tell myself, Ange, you may or may not do hard things, but whatever it is that you do, you need to be kind to yourself and have self-love and have those patience, because, ultimately, for lack of a better way to do it, there's always like a lot. I mean, you always hear about the light at the end of the tunnel. Going through on a journey and trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's dark and we can't see that light. For me, in my journey, I quit looking for that light and just kind of tried to become that light instead, find it within myself. So,
Wow.
I feel like there's something really valuable for, yes, we're taught, look towards that light, but why can you take it a step further and become the light instead for yourself? So I would say, and become the light for yourself, and whoever else you can help out, light their way too, until they can get it to where they can find the light within themselves. And because it's an individual journey, and we are, but at the same time, we have, we live in this society, and if we can all help each other, we'll be giants. Look at us. We're big giant. We'll be giants,
Yeah, dude, you are a mic dropper. Like, I don't even know why you pick up the mic, because you're just gonna drop it again. It's like,
Well, I'm gonna have to criticize you a little bit. You didn't listen to the instructions. You gave like 8 nuggets instead of 1.
Shoot! Oh no, I'm grounded. All right, I'll go to the timeout chair in the corner. I got this.
oh man, you're amazing. I'm so inspired. You're gonna write a book.
Yes,
and when
yes.
you do, we want to share that. So make sure that we know.
Absolutely. I'll hook you guys up. Definitely.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to share, Ryan? Go ahead, Ryan.
We're going to hook you up too. We're going to send you a signed copy of The Giants and the Smalls and a t-shirt as well.
Glad.
So you can, it'll look something along the lines of this. You'll look better in it than I do for sure. So
I love it. It's styling.
Yeah.
I'll wear it proudly.
Awesome. You've inspired us. I mean, really,
I hope so.
I can't imagine anybody on here being like, well, that was a crap show.
I might have broke the record.
I hope that doesn't happen. And if it is, then you just you use it, you move forward, and exactly. I don't know.
That's the beauty of these shows is we have no idea how they'll turn out. We don't even know if the technology will work, but we just roll it.
Right.
And that's kind of like,
I was kind of freaking out at the beginning. I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I mean, like, it's got some issues. Oh no, but I don't know. Figured that out finally. So
yeah. Well, thank you for being a part of this. And
it is truly my pleasure.
You really are something. You're not something in like a bad way. Like, wow, you're something, right? Like, it's wow. I sit back and I reflect on my life and some of the things I've gone through, and the biggest growth that I've gained, like you're talking about going through the darkness. We all have our way of going through the darkness. Mm-hmm. And so I look back on some of those things, and what's built the relationship with my kids and with my life is that gratitude for what occurred, because where I am today couldn't have occurred without that experience. I wouldn't be where I am. I know I wouldn't be where I am today without that experience.
Well, it's like they say, stars can't shine without the darkness.
Yeah.
The darkness is essentially good too, because it pushes you to grow.
Some of my favorite times are at night. It's like,
yes.
I got to write that down. Hold on one sec.
Stars can't shine without the darkness. It's true, because they're out there all day, and so there's a way you have to appreciate both.
Yeah,
the light and the dark. Embrace
it. You do. I don't know if you can see that, but on my arm I have a tattoo that is 2 wolves, and one's black and one's white. And it stems from the story of the 2 wolves. But my take on it is that I don't want to worry about which one to feed. I want to feed both, because in a way they both serve me. Because if I can love and accept my darkness as much as I love and accept my light, then I start to balance. It's when we reject and resist that darkness, we're like, no, that's not who I am. It persists, right?
Right. It's true. It's so true.
there's nobody ever looks at the sky and says, man, darkness, I wish you'd get out of the way so I could see that star.
Right.
It's like,
right.
it's a beautiful dance between the two that allows you to see both.
It is. There's that yin and that yang. I absolutely agree. Yeah, for sure. It's amazing.
Well, I could keep going.
Me too. Like for like 2 more hours. Dang it.
Is there, you know, we'll go for a minute here. I mean, if there's anything else you feel you want to share, or if there's any comments, Ryan, where people want to ask a question. Are you good on time for a minute?
I'm totally good. Yeah, whatever works. I don't care. You're good.
Let's do it. You know, the rigid part of me wants to say, let's be done at 10 o'clock. But this other part saying, hey, shut up, dude. Let's keep going.
No, it's good. Yeah. I'm good either way, guys. I really am. I just appreciate the opportunity to share my story and hopefully impart a little bit of light to the other giants. You know what I'm saying? So there's, you know what I'm saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Lamar says the beauty of the birth of a child happens after 9 months of growth in darkness.
Exactly. Perfect. I think that's a beautiful thought, a way to think of it.
Any other comments that jump out, Ryan?
You know, it's interesting to me, you know, we say this just about every week, but you know, how there's, just like in the book, you can relate this to the book entirely, the story of Remy and Rit. And that there's, you know, yours kind of came all of a sudden a little bit with a ski accident.
Yeah.
There's this waking up point. You know, sometimes that's a physical injury or a disability or something like that. Sometimes it's somebody literally like shaking, like you got to stop doing what you're doing. You got to wake up. But then sometimes it's you know, you've got to, you know, it might not be so physical. You kind of have this moment where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you got a different path. And
I'm gonna keep going, because I'm gonna pull up the book and show you like her journey. This is the beauty of the book, is like Angie's living a regular life, right? And man, I had a brain fog for a minute there. I like, is her name Angie?
I've been called a lot of things. Just, you know, hey, you even works.
Yeah, hey, you. So you're living this ordinary life, right? Nothing strange. And then you have this awakening moment where you're like, there's something else for me to do here. Exactly. And then you go out on this journey. You feel alone. You go out on this journey. You probably interact with giants. You battle your mountain. You climb your mountain. Like, You probably have mentors and powerful people in your life that show you that you're capable of more.
Mom and dad, right? I mean, they were powerful giants.
Yep.
I hope it's okay for me to go through this. You go through
I love it.
You go through some growth that you've never experienced before, and your life completely changes.
Right.
Just like Rit, he had to cut off and let go of his old life, right? You had to physically cut off a leg and say goodbye with gratitude, let go to move forward.
You start to recognize the abundance and show gratitude for your life, and then keep working.
Positive attitude. Amazing positive attitude.
You go through the darkness, but instead of looking for the light, you become the light.
That's true.
And then one day you become a giant. You know, it's just like every time we do this, the journey just reveals itself. It's just so amazing that your journey is like every other giant we've had on here. It's a different version of the same story. And that's the beauty of this book, is that it really highlights that. I love it.
I love it. Core principles of life, man. I mean, we all get there. We all get through life learning the same types of things. And it's just how we learn them is different. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I do. Hey, you know what? I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Good. You like it. Yay. I'm glad. I hope it's giant, not small and tiny.
And it's so good. Yeah. I had just one final thought there is, small steps. You know, sometimes we think we have to make drastic changes. Sometimes
I agree with that.
Sometimes you got to learn to walk again. Sometimes you got to, take one tiny step, and that's enough to get you moving.
Oh, you're exactly right. In fact, I tell my kids all the time, when they're struggling with something, it seems overwhelming. I was like, why are you looking at the entire staircase? Just look at that first stair. Take that stair, then look at the second stair. You know, don't overwhelm yourself. Eventually you'll be at the top of that staircase and you'll be right where you want to be. So yeah, take it a stair at a time.
That's awesome.
Well, good. So Ryan, any other final thoughts?
No, just a lot of gratitude. I appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story, because there's
It's
some
my pleasure.
vulnerability,
It really
right?
is.
But
Yeah,
then
for sure.
others at home sitting and watching can take that and relate it to them and what they're
I
going
hope
through.
so.
And I
I
know
do.
I know that there's people at home that are benefiting. Every single one of these comments was just, hey, thank you, you're amazing, you're a giant.
Aw.
And there's
Well,
going to be a
thank
bunch more
you.
on the replay, and that we'll catch it over the years. And so you're
I
already making a
appreciate that.
giant difference. So thank you for showing up as a giant. We appreciate you.
Oh, it is my pleasure. It really is. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experience and to share in my joy. You know what I mean? As you conquer hard things, it's nice to be able to share with others,
And as you
So.
get your book and any other things that you end up doing, if we can end up helping, pushing, promoting,
Awesome.
we'd love to help.
Yeah, I will. Because, I'm definitely going to do a book. It's going to be great. So I can't tell you the title or any of that yet. But, yeah, it'll be great.
I heard the title, and I love it. And I won't share it because I want you to protect that title.
Yeah, I got to protect it, man.
Yeah. And so, for those that are watching, look at your journey. Look at the losses. Honor those losses. Celebrate them.
Own them. Own the losses, own the wins. And you know what? When you own the loss, it makes owning those wins that much more sweet.
Yeah.
It really does.
We're not meant to be permanently happy.
No.
But you can create such satisfaction in your life that you feel that emotion more than any other emotion. And
right.
That's the beauty of this journey, is you really do have a say in the outcome. You get to decide how it ends.
Yeah, you do. Right. You do.
I love
you
this.
Definitely do. And you might not be able to pick your battles, but you can choose how you end those battles, Sure. I think we can triumph over pretty much anything if, humans are amazing.
I agree. Well, thank you all for watching. Thanks for being giants. Go make it a giant day. Have a giant day. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. I think it's over here on YouTube if you're on there. And follow us in the Tribe of Giants. You can see that scrolling at the bottom there. But if you're not a member of the Tribe of Giants, you're missing out. This is a powerful group of people supporting each other in their highest potential.
It's a beautiful group, yes.
Well, thank you for being a part of this. And we will see you all on the next episode. Make it a great day.
Thank you.